gay. Aging is a privilege. Welcome to Vintage Gay Podcast. Vintage.
Yay.
Age and value. Margaret and I were talking about, like, the other day we were talking about this because we went somewhere and we were like, God, as we get older, I feel like we have a responsibility, like, to be out there, to be bold, to be all of these things. And I don't know, when I was like, okay, I have to do a third podcast, you're one of my closest friends, and you have showed up for everything in my life, like everything. When my dad died, you went and sat with me at a meeting, and it all of this stuff. I've been at your wedding, I've been
Yeah.
yeah, all of it. And I even was front row for Dancing with the Stars. But
Woo.
it is it is one of those things where there's just this joy of sobriety. Like when you get sober, you meet, like, you unravel, and then people get to meet the
Right.
awkward, the the
Right.
the
The
crazy,
real, the real
yeah,
you, the person
as
that
you're
you were.
coming to. And so
Right.
you've seen me come to. And so
Oh, for sure.
it's been 10 years. And so when I was doing this, um I said something, and someone goes, um, I guess you had got arrested or something, or like they had the video of
Oh
you.
no, I didn't get arrested, but there was the protest thing in downtown LA. Yeah.
Yeah. And someone said, Jody was protesting. And I was like, see, my friends, it's like so inspiring. People are in it, in the front row, in the thing. You've been out there for women's rights. I remember all through the pandemic, Black
Yeah.
rights, the Black Lives Matter, like
Yeah.
everything. And
Gay
so,
rights, which is like so I mean,
yeah.
we won't get political because that's not funny. It's just horrible. But yeah, like what's going on with sort of the erasure of the trans community right now is breaking my heart
It's
and also really scary.
very
But
scary.
yeah, that's why it's like we have to still go out there. But sort of talking about as you get older, you're like it's incumbent upon us to keep going, and it's why I always say like it's not going to be the youth that like runs the revolution. It's going to be women past menopause because we don't like as and
They're
everyone as
angry
they
and have
age
nothing to
give less
lose.
of a shit. But like you really like as you get older as a woman, you're like, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm not here to make you happy. Yeah, and it's very freeing. So
So
I
good.
think it's important to remember that because we spend so much of our life trying to impress other people, and then it's like we get to the tipping point where we realize that actually we're not here to impress other people. We're here to impress ourselves and to be
Yes.
amazed at what we can accomplish. And yeah, sometimes you don't learn that till it's too late.
Was there a point where you thought, oh, look at my kids looking at me and I'm not the person I want to be? And now, but now I see, I don't know if that ever happened, but what I do see now is your children looking at you, and you are this revved up, like, beautiful light of acceptance and joy, and I've seen you rise, like, and
Mm,
you brought your kids with you everywhere.
yeah, for sure.
Like, we went
Sometimes much to their,
we went roller skating for my birthday and brought one of them along
Oh
home.
yeah, B participated in a walkout at her school recently. She was like, "Mom, there's gonna be a walkout." I was like, "Cool. Do you need support? Like, do you need a car there, like running?" I was like, "What do you need?" And she was like, "It's okay, Mom. We got it." I was like, "Okay, well, just let me know if anything happens. I got, I'll be out there." But yeah,
What did
like
the walkout for?
it was for against immigration, against the ICE raids that are happening. A lot of students in LAUSD have been walking out. Also, a lot of schools that are predominantly Latin, Latino,
Yeah.
Latinx. I'm not sure what uh, they would prefer to be referred to as, but anyway, a lot of Hispanic students at the school, and it's really affecting their community. It's affecting attendance. It's affecting all kinds of stuff. So she was like, "Can I go and support?" I was like, "You better." I was like, "I'd be mad if you didn't."
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's like you're like this. They I don't know. Like, you get to show I don't know, these kids, how
I mean, I
beautiful life.
try. I've definitely had that moment that you talk about though, when you're like, oh, this is not, oh man, I thought I would be in a different place. But I have to say, I don't ever like I never have regretted any of the times that my kids have seen things get hard,
Yeah.
because that's life,
Struggle,
and
real.
and it's not like they saw everything going on, but they saw a struggle and live in a like 1.5 bedroom apartment when they were little, and they saw me hustling and trying to make it, and they saw me leave relationships that didn't work, and they saw me do a lot of things that I hope as they go through their lives they will gain an understanding of, and hopefully use it as a place to be like, I'm not gonna take that shit from that person because I saw my mom and I know I did, whatever it might be. Or even to just, if they find themselves in it, be like, I messed up. I'll be like, I get it.
There's so many things like that they get to see. Like I've seen you, we met in a rehab, not working.
Yeah, yeah.
We were working in a rehab. And I remember I was saying, I don't feel creative. And I had to go to family day or something in the car.
Oh yeah.
And it was just a really rough day. And I sat with you in the corner. And I remember we said, there's got to be more. And being creative. And then everything kind of, I've seen everything, God's plan just show up. Like literally, like it's so beautiful. And
Thank
these
you.
kids get to see that from the struggle was real.
Yeah.
And to this, how many times have you been married?
This is my fourth and final round. I'm
Yes,
done after. Yeah, this is
Pascal
it.
is
This is it.
my
If this falls apart, I don't. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like,
we'll just be
that's
old
it.
gay ladies
But
together.
I don't think that's gonna happen. He and Mescal and I are like, it's weird how compatible we are. Like, we're just best friends, and we really enjoy. I mean, he works
He's
from home. I'm home a
cool.
lot of the time, and we don't argue or fight or like kill each other. We just let each other be exactly who we are, and give each other space, and figure out things to do together and the things that we want to go do on our own, and support each other in that. And I think that's really important. So,
I saw him watch you walk down the aisle, and I was like, I saw moments like his sister was fixing his
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I was just watching the way how nervous and like that family dynamic. It's so cute
yeah.
and vulnerable in a moment.
Hmm.
And then I watched him walk you down, and his eyes lit up, and I was like, oh, I want that. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that, like,
yeah,
oh, this is,
yeah.
you could
When
see it.
yeah, well, when I feel like I paid my dues along the way.
Oh,
And I had a terrible picker. Well, it wasn't even I didn't have a picker. I just went along. If someone sort of picked me, I was like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now. And then was like, oh, I didn't stop to ask any questions. Like, if I actually like this person or connect with this person, or like, I just sort of wound up here. And that was something that I definitely had to unlearn over the years.
that was a beautiful day. Thank you for inviting me. It was wonderful to see. Like just
Yeah.
this whole, I don't know. It's like when you get sober and you're like real, I don't know. And we met in a rehab where things were like, it's
Yeah, oh,
like
yeah,
working
super
in an
stressful.
insane
Wild.
asylum.
Yeah,
We worked in an insane asylum together.
for sure.
And to see all of the rockiness and then to see this beautiful thing and
Yeah.
evolution of a friendship of each other, of just growing into our skin. Like
Hmm.
I feel blessed. So thank you.
Thank you.
I
Well, I'm glad that we get to do this weird little ride, together as sort of
I'm going to
friends.
say this. You have showed up for everything. When my dad died, you showed up. You showed up for every sober birthday and gave me a cake. You showed up for every, I was going to say anal birthday, natal birthday.
I haven't made it to one of your anal birthdays, but I don't think I would be invited. So it's totally
My
fine.
natal birthday. And like it's just, there's moments like to the wedding, to things, and I got to see you go back to work and go back and do the thing you love. And oh,
Hmm.
what I never asked you, what was it like to revisit that character from when you were 13 to whatever? Like, how was it to walk into the read the first time and go, oh,
Oh my God, it was it and we've kind of all said this in various interviews that like it was the strangest feeling because it was as if no time had passed and yet you're looking around the table at some of the these the same faces of the cast, even some of the producers and whatever, and you're like, oh, but it's different. Like it's the same but different. And no, it was, I mean, that was incredible to get to go back and do something that I loved so much. And also, like, when do you get the opportunity to sort of get to play a character after a certain amount of time and reintroduce them and be like, oh, I wonder what they've been doing, you know?
yeah,
I mean, whether or not it necessarily came through in, Steph's storylines, like I had a whole backstory for what she had been doing and what she'd gone through and what, why she was the way she was, why she kind of was, nervous to like settle down, why she didn't come home, all these things. Because I just love the creative process of like, okay, who is this person? Who do
yeah,
I get to, fill in? And even if it, is a Hallmark movie or a sitcom, like that's the fun part of it, even if it's just for my own enjoyment.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I got to come back to something that I thought I would never get to,
yeah.
something that I think at a
Most people
really,
don't. Like,
no,
how
most
do
people don't.
child
And for
actors
me,
get to go back?
yeah, for me, I lost sort of that quote unquote family at like 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I only realize now, I think, how destabilizing it was, that entire shift of sort of losing my routine of what I had come to know since I was 5 years old. And so I think when I finished that around that age, when I finished Full House, there was just this sense of grief because I loved that family so much. And it was like, oh, I'll never get to do that again. And
Yeah,
so then when we got to come back and do it again,
yeah.
knowing that we had never lost touch, that we've remained friends and family, and we're all, it was like, oh, don't never that whole never say never. Like don't say what you think you will and won't do or never could happen because 30 years might go by,
Yeah. And what was it?
you
You
know.
stopped when you were 13, 14, and you went back when you were 33, 32?
Something like, yeah, about 32.
Wow.
No, well, yeah, about 32 I started we started working on like pre-production stuff. I'd say yeah, it was like 32 when
Oh, wow.
God, yeah, it's been that long. Yeah. Because it's been almost 10 years now. It'll be 10 years that we started Fuller House this year, which
Oh, wow.
is weird. Yeah.
Real quick about the cast. Who would you call to bail you out of jail? And you could say Bob too. Like, let's
Oh,
pretend that
right,
he's
right.
still alive.
Who would call a bail me out of jail? Probably either Stamos or Andrea Barber for sure.
Okay.
Because Stamos would just be like, "Oh God, now what?" And AB would like, "Oh, I got you. This is gonna, yeah, yeah, yeah." So like they both would probably ask no questions, just roll their eyes and be like, "Oh, of course you did."
Who would you call to bury a body?
Probably Andrea, AB. Yeah, she would keep a good secret.
Oh, wow. She's the one, she said she shows up for everything too. Whenever I'm in a room to show up for you, she's over here like Dancing with the
Yep.
Stars, everything. Andrea has showed up. Like,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen her everywhere. I
Yeah,
love
she
her.
really has. I love getting to do the How Rude Tanneritos podcast with her because it means that at least once a week I get to like, you know, fuck around with my friend for 2.5 hours over Zoom and like call it a job. So
What's the name of the podcast, real quick?
it is How Rude Tanneritos, and it is a Full House rewatch podcast because we never watched the show. We did the show, but we never watched it. And so going back and starting from the very beginning and watching it sequentially all the way through has been wild because half of the stuff we like don't remember. The other half we have very vivid memories of, but only bits and pieces. So we see the entire episode and we're like, oh, that's what like the B storyline was or whatever. And then of course just making absolute fun of it. And so I mean the fashion, the hair,
So good.
everything. I mean, just it. I really, really enjoy sort of taking the piss out of the show to just have fun with it because it is as much as it's like sort of universal themes, there are some things in there you're like, oh, this is so late 80s, early 90s. Wow. Yeah. It's like a time capsule. So it's been really fun.
I was on the gay TikTok and they asked, what was your favorite on-screen families? Like your favorite on-screen parents?
Oh,
And
right.
the number one was the three dads.
Yep. Yeah. They were great.
I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. I was like,
I
oh,
love that. Well,
that is so
and
cute.
what I've always heard from like a lot of fans who maybe were growing up as kids and were closeted or new and sort of, and they were like, this was a family that was different. It showed me that like it's okay to be different,
Yeah,
and I always thought that that was a really important part of the show.
it's so funny. I was a, I was, I was in my 20s when you were
Yeah,
shooting.
you were
I was
not our
out. I never
demographic
saw
at
any of
all.
that.
Yeah.
I
Gay
just
club kid? No, that wasn't really what we were going for, Kenny. I don't know. Yeah,
In the
no.
90s, honey, I was dressed
No,
as
it's
a
what
not
I'm
so
going for
attractive.
now, but back then it was not. Yeah, definitely not the theme of Full House.
And so I remember when you got this gift of the second go around, and um you were so smart. You're like, okay, we're gonna have a meeting in my trailer once a
Yeah.
week, whatever. And I remember going and reading the literature and having a meeting on the lot in your trailer. And I thought,
Hmm.
that is so great. And I remember there was you did a Christmas episode, and there were some dancers that were like young in their 20s, and they were
Yeah,
getting,
yeah.
and I dragged them all because I recognized them when we
Yeah.
dragged them into your trailer. And I remember going, they are so lucky that they get to see that you yourself are showing them how to fit your life into sobriety, not your sobriety into your life.
Right.
I thought
And
that was
I
such a
was so
cool
grateful
thing.
because I connected with crew members and people that I didn't know were in the program. And then it was like,
Yeah.
oh, we have a special bond and something that like when shit is going completely sideways, I can kind of like look at them and make some sort of a 12-step joke and they'll be absolutely get it. And, my dear friend Charlie,
Yeah.
he, God, I just loved and adored him. And again, had, been in and out of rooms and sober. And so we would just make the most scathing jokes,
Yeah.
about taking others' inventory, just snarky little stupid things, but like taking others' inventory or, whatever. And it was again just such a I was really glad that that I got to do that, and it kept me also like really centered and focused, particularly that first season when it was like, oh, this all feels really weird, like normal but also really weird.
But look at it. Just like we get
Yeah.
the gift of a better second chances.
I mean, that is absolutely how I look at it, is like I got to, and I always say that what I learned in years of working in treatment and getting sober and doing all of that kind of stuff and splitting up, just living life, is that you know, we don't often get a chance to like go back and do something again.
Yeah.
Um and like I got that, and it just felt like really important. It felt like a big piece of my story. And yeah, gosh, I just look at sort of the journey I was on, and it's like I don't regret any of it at all.
Yeah.
Um,
But when we
but
met,
I'm
our light wasn't bright. It was a little dim. Like
for sure.
our
My
light
mom always
has
said that
trim.
I would dim my light, and like now it's
It's so
it
bright.
burns like full blast, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't,
And from the inside,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's so good.
Thank
It's
you.
so good. You
You.
are
And
how
I have my moments for sure. When I like, oh God, every therapy session, I'm like, I can't do this. The world is too crazy. I feel too much. I need to crawl in bed. But then I will have moments where I'm like, no, actually, I'm good, and we're gonna take this on. And
yeah. What would you say? I love that. What would you say to the person who's getting sober, who has burnt down the village, who is feeling dark inside and small and doesn't think that they could have this dream big sobriety or this whatever? What would you say to that young lady or gay dude, that kid that's trying to get sober, or anyone really?
Oh gosh. I would say that there are times when I'm in the midst of doing something that I absolutely love, or that I um that is bringing me so much joy, and is a dream that I wanted to do or be able to accomplish. And I, in the midst of that, will have moments where I think of a time that I felt absolutely broken and like this wouldn't happen. And it's like I make myself remember, you were wrong there.
Yeah.
You were wrong. Look at
Yeah.
this.
Oh, I got
You
goosebumps.
you all you know, you would have missed this
You would have
if you would
missed
have
it.
listened to yourself.
Yeah.
And so I have really learned, or tried to learn over the years, um, how to just do the next indicated step sometimes. And sometimes you don't know what it is, and that's okay.
I think that the day that we start to communicate and say, I need help or I need to
Hmm.
whatever, is the day that it could change, because I didn't want people to see me that small. And I had so much
Right.
shame and regret of what I had done in
Right.
the dark, just whatever it
Right.
is.
And
And
I will also say, like, to anyone particularly getting sober who has, a lot of shame around, things that they've done or the person they've been, like, oh, honey, are you in the right place?
you are.
Do we
You
have
and
some
I could tell
stories for
stories.
you? Yeah, and we will laugh at them and we will just kick that shame right out the fucking door, because it has no place in healing. It doesn't. Feeling ashamed of something that you did is, I mean, it's pissing in the wind. You know what I mean? Like, it already happened.
Yeah.
So own it, laugh about
Laugh
it,
at it.
make an amends about it, and fucking move on.
Yeah. I think laughter
Yeah.
was the
So
healing thing for me. That laughter healed my
yeah,
soul, because
it
you're
really
like,
does.
oh,
And you will find that in um on the road to recovery, in whatever program or form of addiction it may be, chances are the people who share it with you, if you are 100% completely honest with them, will open up and share right back with you.
yeah.
And you will feel like, oh my God, for so long, I haven't said anything because I thought like the earth would open up and swallow me whole if I admitted to this. And here I admitted to it, and someone was like, oh my God, yeah, me too. Wasn't that fucking terrible? And you're just like, oh, I'm still here. Yeah. Oh, okay. And you get an opportunity to, I think, to reframe and to shake off a lot of that shame.
Oh, wow. I Googled you and I found something that I didn't know. Um,
Oh,
I did not know that Sam and Janice were your uncle and aunt.
well, not really.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of,
Because it
that's
says
how
here, her
it's,
parents were sent to prison, or her dad was sent to prison, and she was adopted by her uncle Sam and his second wife Janice at 9 months old, and her father died in a prison riot.
yes, yes. And um, so dad, my dad, Sam, that adopted me, he was married. His first wife was my biological great aunt.
Okay.
So he was uncle like by marriage, but they had divorced years prior, and so he wasn't really my uncle. But I guess that's the easiest way to compare it to, because otherwise, like, you got to get like a Sharpie and draw out a map. So it just, it's easier to say like uncle, but that is not
So the
entirely true. But it
wonderful
was it
man
was
Sam.
within, oh, we'll say this, it was within sort of within the clan, what I was adopted. You know what I mean? Within like
And
family
Sam
and
said,
close
I'll do
family
it.
friends. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So my
thank
parents
goodness.
really wanted kids, and I, really needed a place to be.
Mhm.
So I wound up in exactly the right spot, because my mom absolutely encouraged and supported my creativity and who I wanted to be and my reading and really all of that um it was in huge part to my mom.
Oh wow. I love that. I was like, oh my God, that sounds so I mean not I mean
Yeah, I usually
but it
say tell
sounds
people I'm like I have
dramatic.
to draw. It's like less of a family tree and more of a small bush. It's like it doesn't. The branches aren't real stretched out, and there's some that are like kind of cut off.
But
But
girl, the way that they lead into it and then they're like, and the dad dies in a prison riot. I was like,
that feels like a really terrible synopsis, but also gets right to the point. I mean, there's no just cuts the fat right out of it and gets
I
to the
was
point.
like, wow.
Yeah, I
What
mean that's Chat GPT for you.
what would you say to a child actor? Because there's all this thing right now going on. What would you say to someone like on Nickelodeon or Disney or whatever that from a child actor that thinks that maybe the dream stops with that? You know what I mean?
Oh,
All of a sudden you're
right. That once
over
you're
and then you
done with
have
that,
a
you're done. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You have so much more life to live and so many more versions of yourself to become. Like, don't limit yourself to that being the thing that you define yourself as for your whole life, says the woman who's been an actor for 35 years. But no, but really,
and
if
revisited the
it's
same character when that doesn't
right.
happen.
Exactly. But it doesn't have to, if that is not the thing that sparks joy for you, if that, if you want to do something else entirely, go do that.
Yeah.
Don't let other people's expectation of some sort of level of financial or financial success or fame, don't let other people's idea of what you should have dictate what you want.
Ooh.
Because I think a lot of times we make choices based on what we think other people think we should do, and they have nothing to do with what we want to do. And I went back and started working in treatment for $10 an hour because it was what I wanted to do. I wanted to, potentially be a therapist or, be a case manager. And so I was like, I'm willing to do whatever. I don't care what somebody thinks of me, that like, oh, weren't you on a TV show? Yeah. And now I have another job.
Yeah, my life changed in that
Yeah,
moment.
my life changed. And also that all of this shit, the social media and the publicity and the everyone talking about it, it's not real life. None of that is real life.
Mm.
Put your phone down and go be like in the world.
It's,
It's not real life. Doesn't dictate who you are. They don't even know you.
yeah.
Let
And
it
I
go.
think self-discovery is part of it. Like we went off and we were like, maybe this, maybe that. I liked being sober. I liked helping other people. So I thought treatment was a thing. And then I was like, I remember that moment where I called someone and I was like, treatment and sobriety are two totally different things for me. For
Right.
me.
Oh,
And
for
and
sure.
and I
And they should
couldn't.
be. If yeah, they should be two different things.
And I was like, whoa. And so I was like, I had that conversation with you because you understood the creative bone. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to go play dress up again or do something or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's what your spirit calls you to do or whatever that might be.
But you can
Yeah.
only know that by trying other things and going, oh,
Right.
that wasn't what I thought. But
Right. And that's
self-discovery.
okay. And again, like the internet is not real life. So just remember that everything that happens on there, like go exist in the world and connect with real humans without a screen and you'll find your sense of purpose.
What's what's harder to be a career woman, a mother, or a wife?
I mean, I'm not to lie, the wife gig's really easy. Like my husband's amazing. He does all the cooking, all the grocery shopping. He
He's
works from
wonderful.
home. So like anytime he's like, "What can I do for you? You need me to pick up the kids?" I'm like, so the wife gig is great. I have an amazing husband who totally spoils me. That part is easy. Career woman is easy because I can throw myself into work and distract myself from dealing with things, which isn't always, that's not, I'm not saying that's a plus, but that's easy. I can just be like, oh, blinders on. I can do nothing but show up to set. And literally, like, I'm like, nothing else exists. Being a mom is really, really hard
How old are
because
your kids now?
my kids are 16 and 14. Zoe will be 17 in April. Um, it's
Teenagers.
really hard because it has nothing to do with you. And yet it feels really, really personal. You know, like their growth and their choices and their experience of their own little existence, particularly once they get to this age, is no longer really yours to like have any power over. And so you just have to watch as, you know, they do things not the way you would do them, or learn the lessons that you already learned, and you're like, oh, and you just have to step back and go, okay, I will love you through this. And it also, you know, everything gets taken out on you. You're sort of the buck stops here, so everything that sucks is usually your fault, you know, like it just, whatever it is, you like, oh, you're just annoying, you're naggy, whatever, and all you want to do is just help them, right? So it's really hard because it feels really one-sided, because it's literally the most codependent, awful relationship where you just get yelled at by someone and then you have to meet their needs because you're legally obligated to, and it goes on for about 18 years, and then hopefully one of
Go
you
good
leaves.
girl,
No,
son.
but like it in the best of ways, because I also am watching my girls like hit bumps in the road for sure, but also like figure out things that they like or that they want to try or that they're good at. And you know, again, like giving myself credit but not too much credit. Like I'm the parent and there's a lot of things that I have control over, but at the end of the day, I'm just here to like guide them along this. And that's all I can do, you know, which is really hard because sometimes as a mom, you're like, but you were here and I know you. And that, you know, and at the same time, you're like, but yet you are your own person.
Yeah.
And I have to let you be that. And, you know, you're constantly like, oh, I said the wrong thing. Oh, that was too critical. Oh God, I'm my mother. You know, it just, that's all you think all the time. And and then it's over. And then they move out and you're like, oh no, wait, I just got good at it. I think I'm just learning what to do. Come back. And they're like, no, absolutely not. You're a demon crazy woman. You're like, no, that was just the first like 15 years I was learning what to do.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.
Yay!
Mwah! I love
Thank you for
you.
being my guinea pig. I appreciate you showing
Oh
up.
my God,
I
anytime.
love
I'll be
you.
your guinea pig any day.
I love you very
I
much.
love you. I'll see you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Okay, bye.